Welcome to Force Pro Sports Laserforce podcast with your host, Mr. Mischief.
Laserforce players, welcome to Force Pro Sports. Laser tag is the greatest sport of our modern era. Our dream is to see a laser tag tournament with players paid professionally, teams sponsored, and lives transformed through our incredible supportive community. My codename is Mr. Mischief. I'm a laser tag sports analyst who aims to make laser tag presentable and exciting for all. Today, I am joined by Michiru Matsushimu. Welcome. From Syracuse, New York. He boasts 1,826 games, and he is playing for US East and Nats 25.
How's it going? How's it going?
You were not expecting me to not call you Cody.
Not at all. Nope.
I thought about it, Cody, and I decided, you know what? We're being English-ist, like we want. It's not English, so we just are like, oh well, frick him. We're gonna call him Cody, and you encourage us to do so. But
yeah, I could not care any less. So
I went and I got the pronunciation and everything. Welcome on tonight. How are you doing?
Good.
I find it funny. What are you up to right now?
Well, right now I'm working. Technically, I'm on the clock as we do this as we speak, which is great because it always gives me something to pass the time because it's slow right now. But other than that, just been passing the time with other sports and stuff right now. Just waiting for this tournament to happen. I'm like itching to get out there already.
Mm-hmm. Are your bosses avid Laserforce fans?
Unfortunately, no, not at the time. They are aware that I do this. They're knowledgeable to that point, but that's about it. So,
I'd say the onus is on them to get involved, and if they want to know what you're up to during your working hours. Anyway, thanks for coming on today. We're going to start with a quick question, as we always do. This question is sponsored by RelicsMerch.com. Visit RelicsMerch.com today to buy awesome Laserforce swag. Sergeant Tucker asks, since arenas have different playstyles, what are some examples of changes to your mentality or practice when you're entering a different arena from your home arena?
I don't know. I think a lot of my thoughts just come from experience playing in said arena or whatever. Like my first time going to a new arena, I'm kind of just operating on instinct, I'd say. I'm more just kind of like seeing how the arena is, seeing how it feels, how does doing this work, how does doing that work. I've never really been the type of person to like think about strategies or think about how I'm playing. It just kind of comes to me and I just do it. One of the things I remember from one of the previous podcasts you guys did when you guys were talking with Odin and Nolan and them after Nats, Odin mentioned one of the things when he was talking post Nats that I was someone that he saw was pretty good at always being able to find something to do to like improve the team situation. That's just kind of how I've always been. I don't think about anything. I just do it. Something's not working, just change it. If it works, move on to something else. There's no like planning around it. It just happens.
It's interesting. That's how Guy Next Door talks about the game, that he's an instinct player as well. And I think there are some people like you, and there are some people who are like the total opposite of you. They analyze everything. I think Thunder's a player like that. He'll talk about how he plans out what he's going to do based on like the five most likely options for what's about to happen. He's got it all like planned out in his head. And yeah. And as a therapist, I think we need to recognize like your feelings are an intellectual piece of you. They can give you information. They are picking up on things, and your feelings probably are like pretty attuned to look for the right things. You're a player who traditionally can rack up a ton of points when you're playing a position, no matter what it is. You're a classic farmer, Cody. That's how I would define you. So your instincts serve you pretty well in that department.
Mm-hmm.
Does it ever backfire on you, though?
I would say sometimes there's definitely games where like there'd be situations where it just feels like I'm running into a wall and nothing that changes works. That maybe that's something that could be looked at more like out of game to figure out what the issue was. But I just feel like at this point I've been playing long enough that at least for the most part, especially if I'm playing places that I have experience in, that doesn't happen as often anymore as it may have happened when I was newer to the game. But nobody's perfect, so sometimes the instincts are wrong. It happens.
You're not perfect. I'm perfect. What do
Absolutely
you
not. I wish
get
I
on my
was.
level, bro? Come on. I'm far from perfect. All right. If you want to submit a question for one of our guests to answer, leave a comment below. Shout out to our community of Laserforce players joining the fight against bullying. If you donate to our Patreon, 1/2 of your donation goes towards NAPAB, a nonprofit dedicated to the fight against bullying in schools and communities. All people deserve a community that cares about them regardless of who they are. Give at patreon.com/Mr. Mischief. Cody.
Yes.
Michiru Matsushima.
Yes.
When did you start playing laser tag?
Literally back in 2011. I think that's, if you checked my membership, it says my membership was made in like November of 2011. But playing like actual competitively, like SM5, I think I started like practicing in 2015-ish, but first tournament was 2016.
Did you get into Laserforce tournaments or Armageddon first?
Laserforce.
Okay,
Definitely.
cool. When did you get into Armageddon? And can you explain to people what that is?
Okay, so firstly, Armageddon is a multi-system tournament. It's a tournament that's run where we travel to different sites in a nearby location over the course of a weekend, and we're playing all of these different systems and their competitive formats to kind of see what players are like the jack of all trades, you might say, like the overall best. We'll play stuff like Force, Zone, Tron, Qzar, and a bunch more. We're usually playing at the minimum 6 systems a tournament. Which ones we play will just depend on the route we're taking that year. But I've played as many as like 8 or 9 one year before, and like I said, as low as 6. So it's just a tournament where players from multiple different competitive scenes all get together and play a bunch of systems just to see who's the best overall.
How long has that been going on, Armageddon?
They've been doing it since the first year was either 1999 or 2000. I can't remember for sure which of them, but they have been doing it for a pretty long time. I was born in 1999, so they were doing it pretty much as long as I've been alive for.
Oh, that's crazy. Oh, I love that. It's a really cool concept. Whenever I don't know very much about other systems, to be completely honest. I don't have too much desire to know. But there are whole other worlds out there that we don't know about, and Cody, tell me why I'm wrong to not want to try this.
Well, I mean, I think it kind of just depends on the person and what they're looking for, but we are fans of laser tag. As much as we play Force and play SM5, in the grand scheme of thing, we're playing laser tag. So Armageddon is a way to experience playing even more laser tag. You're still going to have your Force and your SM5 involved, but you get other experiences too on top of it, as well as meeting other players that are from other systems and viewing how they view playing laser tag and their experience. And even if the different games may not be SM5 or Force, you may be able to pick up some little things here and there just from seeing how other people play various games and whatnot.
It is really cool. And I lied. I actually do want to go. It's just I haven't made it worth it to give up the time and money to do it. Right? There's a difference. Pause time, give it to me for free. I'm all in. I'd love to try it. What system do you like most outside of Laserforce?
It's tough because most of the other systems that I've played in Armageddon, I at least enjoy to some capacity. I'm sorry to the Quest players that they're the odd ones out, that I am not a big fan of playing Quest, which is funny because that's probably the biggest scene that plays in Armageddon.
Really?
But yeah, especially at this point, considering Quest is dead and they have no other tournaments to play.
That's
Uh,
interesting. Can I pause real quick? That's
yeah.
actually the only system that I've tried outside. I've tried Zone in like a standard, but I got to actually attend a Quest tournament probably 6 7 years ago. That was different.
Oh, very much.
That
It is
was more
probably the
like,
most polar opposite to Force, except for maybe Storm that you can get out of Armageddon.
yeah, it was more like fencing, sword
Oh,
fighting.
yup.
Um,
It is something, and I am completely garbage at it. So that
mhm.
might add on to the reason why I may not like it so much. But hey, it's part of the experience.
No, so was I. I want to describe this for the listener, right? Like, I want to keep hearing about Armageddon, but my experience was with Quest. The arena didn't matter at all because it wasn't about cover and positioning. You just were trying to get the most points possible. And the way people would play is you like bend to the side and show people your side with the least amount of targets. And you're moving the phaser, by the way, it's like a cannon. It's giant. And you're moving that around with one arm or two arms so that people can't shoot your phaser. You're moving your body around left to right. You're like wiggling and spinning so that people can't actually hit your targets while you're hitting their targets. And I think I understand because if I became really good at that, like if I became really good at martial arts fighting or sword fighting or fencing, I would enjoy that craft. But since I'm not very good at it, and when I think of laser tag, I think of a game based completely on positioning and accuracy and okay, sorry. I'm gonna dunk. Equipment that actually works. Then of course I'm not gonna have as much fun at a quest tournament.
I can
I'm
definitely
sorry,
say
but
that
the best players had marked the best packs so that like that was part of how you won. You grabbed the packs that had the least amount of things broken about them. Or the
we
most
would
things.
we literally the 1 year or the 2 years that I've played Quest and Armageddon, the people on the teams that knew Quest and knew what they were doing would in our practice games be literally in the briefing room with a notepad taking down notes after all the practice games for each pack, like, oh, yellow 6 chest hard to hit, yellow 7 cannon phaser, yellow 8 back is an easy target, stuff like that. So they would figure out which packs are good, which packs suck, and hand them out to the appropriate players on their
Oh
team
my
accordingly.
goodness.
So that the packs that either are very easy to shoot people with or are very hard to hit go to the best players, and then they give the bad packs to the bad players and tell them to basically bury themselves somewhere and not bleed.
Yeah.
Get points where you can, but don't just be out there in the middle getting destroyed.
If that's your cup of tea, I'm happy for you. I'm I don't really want to try that. Um, but what is your favorite? I'm sorry. Did you say? Did I forget?
Probably, I think it depends on arena and whatnot. Like, if we're playing the route that we usually do when it's in Syracuse, where we go down to Philadelphia for zone and playing zone at Ben Salem, probably zone, because zone as a system as a whole, as long as you're playing somewhere with decent equipment, is definitely fun. And the Ben Salem arena, even with it not being like a Force arena, whatnot, is one of my favorite arenas that I've played in that isn't Syracuse. But I think if you take that as into a whole, because I've definitely played zone in places where the equipment sucked or the arena was not great at all. Uh, at least when it comes to Armageddon, Qzar might be my next favorite because that one we usually just play in whatever Force arena that we're at because we'll import packs for that because we have R&T, who's playing in Nats, who has an entire set of Qzar packs himself. And then you have some places like in Syracuse where Sanch has his own set of packs and whatnot that we can usually just play Qzar in whatever Force arena that we're at. And Qzar is, while it's not obviously exactly the same as Force, it plays relatively similar to it. It's not a huge jump away from Force as some of the other systems are.
Is the game mode a jump away from Force? Because You play
Uh,
SM5, right?
yes, SM5 is like far and away the most complicated game of all of the systems competitive game.
Mm-hmm.
QZR's competitive format is basically just TDM with the difference of in order to get bases, which are worth a lot of points, you need to be in Supercharged mode, which requires you to get 5 hits in a row without being deactivated.
Ooh, interesting. Huh. Well, very cool. Um, I I don't want to set a bad example. Like, I think that is really good for the community that you're willing to go out and experience all these other systems and connect with other players in these systems because, like, these are whole worlds that we don't even really know about. And there's nothing wrong with them. There's nothing wrong with liking other systems and making that your main thing. I'm sure if I had, I'm sure there's an alternate reality where instead of going to a Laserforce site, I went to a Zone site as my first site, and maybe I got sucked into that. Who knows? But yeah, thanks for sharing. Last question on Armageddon, because I'm sure all the Force players here are like, talk about Force, come on. Is there a rivalry between Force and any other particular system?
I don't know, not at least not in the experiences that I've had. I think there's like maybe some little jibber jabber over there where everyone is going to talk about their own home system as if it's the best because it's their system that they're from. But Armageddon is much more of a community experience as it is, so we're all just getting together basically to have a good time. Obviously there's going to be winners and losers and people are playing the tournament to try to win, but some of the most fun experience of Armageddon is the stuff that happens at the tournament that isn't actually the tournament itself. The drinking parties that happen at the hotels and whatnot, the bus ride between sites where people are going crazy and doing stuff and whatnot,
Mhm.
playing QZR out in the hotel parking lot at night between tag nights. It's some of that can be some of the best moments of the tournament, and it's not even the parts where you're actually playing it.
That's amazing. Thank you for sharing. If any of you want to go to Armageddon, Cody's usually one of the people that advocates for it, and you can get information from him. Back to tag. So you are going to go play on U.S. East in internationals this year.
Correct.
Before I talk about that team, let's reflect a little on last year. You just came off of Nats 24, hosted by us in Loveland. Can you talk about that tournament a little bit? What were some of the highlights and lowlights? What did you learn?
Well, the tournament was off to a very rough start before the tournament even started with Beans breaking his wrist the
Yeah.
couple weeks before the tournament, and then us scrambling to find a last minute replacement that could fly all the way out to Colorado on like a week and a half, 2 weeks notice. So that was experience that I hadn't had before on a tournament before, but we moved on from it. We showed up, we played. It was a kind of a rough experience, at least for the first few days, because with the factor of Beans being hurt and us not knowing how much he was actually going to be able to play, and if he was going to be able to play, what level he was going to be able to play at, was us just kind of trying to figure out what positions were going to work for everybody, what was going to be our best lineup for the tournament, and then getting experience in the arena itself, because other than me, nobody on the team had any recent experience, if any experience at all, in the Loveland arena. Like Jackal, I know, had never played there before. I know Beans, Lenny, and Fox had played there before, but it was way back in like the first Nats you guys hosted, back
Yep.
when barely anybody had played there before, even you guys.
Mm-hmm.
So completely different scenario coming to this tournament for all of us. I think we ended up eventually figuring out what kind of was going to work best for us lineup wise. Problem is we didn't figure it out until finals, so we didn't really have a lot of time to actually play and work through all that stuff. But overall, it was an enjoyable experience. So
I owed Sergeant Tucker a free lunch because you didn't play more than 50% of your games on heavy.
and it is very unfortunate because I did have an perfect split between Commander and Heavy. I just played 2 random resupply games in there to throw the balance off just barely.
Yeah, you did. Oh,
One of them you
I
can blame Rhea for because Rhea picked my position that game and told me I was playing medic. So
yeah. Um, Heavy tends to it's very different in Loveland, and it's almost I would say it is generally slightly more important to get the heavy weapons down than the commander down. That's a very complicated discussion. I'm not going to make that blanket statement, but your heavy needs to know how to play the meta in our arena. And considering you were the one person with that actual recent experience and how well you did in the duos tournament and the West Coast 22, yeah, I was kind of saying that from the beginning. You should have been playing heavy. Not that Lenny couldn't have learned it, or I don't think Beans should have been put in that position. But you have to learn. It's not so much like it doesn't always just require your basic laser tag skills. It requires all the specific timing and trail making and knowing what to be. So yeah, that is unfortunate. It seemed like a disappointing finish for you guys.
Yeah, we were probably hoping for a little bit better, but the past is the past. We move on.
Well, to keep pulling you back to the past, what did you learn from that tournament?
Probably good to figure out ahead of time exactly what lineups are going to be and whatnot, because we didn't really do much planning for that until basically we got there. And so like even before Beans got hurt, like we hadn't really planned too far ahead in that. I think we had kind of a idea of what we were going to do, but even that wasn't set in stone. So then when Beans got hurt, it made it even more up in the air. But I think that's the biggest thing, is kind of like, especially if we're going somewhere that most of us haven't played before, that or have very little experience in, probably good to figure that out a little bit sooner than we did. I think we went in with the whole mindset of like, Syracuse, we usually don't think about stuff. We just kind of go in and figure it out as we go, and it usually works for us. So yeah, it's the first time we kind of ran into a wall with that.
Or that instinct play style, or that feeling it out.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. And final thing on that's 24. Do you have a highlight from the tournament? Anything you're proud of?
The game that we played against the Detroit team, where we were picking each other's positions because the overall result didn't matter in the standings at that point, because it was like the last game of round play or something, that no matter who won or lost, the result wasn't going to change. So all of us going out there and playing stuff that we normally weren't playing in the tournament and basically screwing around during the game was definitely something, at least for us.
For sure. Sounds like a really fun time. Okay.
Beans after that game was basically saying he should have been playing ammo the whole tournament. He would have stole MVP ammo from Than.
Yeah, you might have. That might have been All-Star, by the way. I believe
Yes, one of the whichever one.
Simply
I forgot we did
okay.
them both.
Definitely walked away with the MVP ammo, I think. Anyways, Nats 25. Can you tell us a little about your team? Not asking for details that your team would be upset that you gave away, but tell us about it.
Well, yep. So right now the team is myself and Beans from Syracuse, and Lenny. Almost forgot. And Lenny. I'm still shocked that he's making it out this tournament, considering the amount of travel and the fact that he basically just had a kid relatively recently. So that stunned me when he got added to the group chat and was playing. I'm very happy about it. Always loved playing with him. Shocked me. Then we have Stu, Baden, and Scythe from Detroit. And we've recently picked up Tomic from the Czech Republic as our 7th for the tournament, for the inevitable somebody blows out a knee or something because half the team is old. So I say half the team. I'm like the one young one on the team.
Yeah, you're not the one who's probably going to be bringing injuries in.
I sure hope not. If I am the one, then we got some serious problems.
I think he goes by Tomik, by the way.
Tomik, okay.
Yeah, he's from the Czech Republic. Okay, I have a few questions because there are some questions around this team. One, how's Bean's arm hand doing?
Right now, like it never happened. Like he hasn't, at least while playing, hasn't had any complaints about his arm or whatnot. I don't know how it's affecting him outside of tag or whatnot, but he's had no tag related issues with his arm in at least the last few months, at least that he's made known to us. So that he should be perfectly fine arm wise, at least at this point.
Excellent.
Unless he does it again.
Right. Okay, that's good. Second, Is Scythe playing?
And that's that's the big question that even we've been kind of asking recently. He is apparently booked and is showing up. He's supposed to get there. I think he said the Friday before the tournament, like early afternoon or like right before noon on Friday. So he's supposed to be there, but we have actually yet to practice with him because he's had so many conflicts with work that he hasn't been able to come out here to play when like Baden his Stu has. Might change next week, but we're still kind of figuring out details for that, whether we're gonna have the time to play or whatever next week.
Okay, so he is fully planning to be there at the tournament, but you haven't had a chance to practice with him yet.
Correct.
Okay. And bringing in Tomik is kind of an insurance policy.
Yes.
Awesome. Cool. Hey, I'm very interested to see how Tomik does. He has the third most games in the world. He is rapidly gaining on Tragedy and Rusty. Even if he hasn't played SM5 before or much before, he probably has some pretty good laser tag chops.
I mean, with that many games, I would think so. That's just even if it's not the way we play, it's laser tag experience, and the experience tends to win out over a lot of other things. So,
What if he's just really bad? Third
I
most games
mean,
in the world, and he's just really bad. That'd be so funny.
hey, yeah, if that's the case, that's the case. There's only one way to get better, and that's playing. So
That's playing right. He needs to get to number 2 most games in the world.
if Rusty's retiring, Tragedy's already basically retiring. He's got plenty of time to catch up.
Yeah, it's only a matter of time at this point. He's very close. Okay, and that's a Tomik. I have every confidence you are going to be an incredible player, as you already have been. Let's see. All right, so you got kind of a half Detroit, half Syracuse, and bringing in Tomik from the Czech Republic, bringing on the madness. What is your team trying to focus on right now? We'll be back with the podcast in just a moment. Wanted to take a quick ad break to just let you know, please support the channel to join the fight against bullying and support our sponsors, RelicsMerch.com, to get some awesome Laserforce swag. And with that, we'll be right back to the podcast. Thank you for listening.
I think it's mostly just figuring out exactly what we're going to be running, because the biggest thing with our team is that for the most part, we have people that can play multiple, if not every position to at least a competent level. So it's kind of figuring out what's going to be our best plan of action for that. Like, we have ideas for it, but we haven't necessarily been able to put them entirely into practice because, like I said, we haven't been able to practice as a team entirely yet. But we have kind of like a solid idea of like what plan A, plan B, and plan C is probably going to be. So, but it's probably not going to be completely honed in until practice games, but we'll have plenty of time for that with the amount of time we're supposedly going to be getting for practice in Brisbane. So
That's good. And I hope you get the amount of time that you want. What's cool about your team is that you kind of have the shell of the U.S. Golden Freedom Eagles that went out in 2018. Baden, Scythe, and Beans were all on that team. That's half the team, and those are the 3 most experienced players from that team. It's kind of like the rest of you are coming in and you're rounding it out, and you know, I could see a world where they run it back on the same positions or maybe mix up things. You, I mean, you're kind of newer on the scene, and you definitely have the talent to be competitive among those 3 players. I'm curious if there's a role that you're at least hoping you'll get to play, or thinking of yourself as playing in this tournament.
I mean, at least on a personal level, I've always enjoyed playing 3-hit more than anything else. But like, I'm ultimately at this tournament to win or give ourselves the best chance of winning. If that position is me playing 3-hit, so be it. If it's not, so be it. I'm doing whatever the plan is for our team to give us the best chance of winning, whatever that plan ends up being. Even if it means playing resupply, which I doubt it, but hey, you never know. We could go in there throwing out some of the craziest lineups you've ever seen. Who knows? We barely even know going into the tournament, so it's going to be a surprise to us as much as it is to you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a lot of that going around as I talk to people. Lineups aren't totally confirmed, and also when you're going to a new arena, you probably shouldn't lock in before you actually step foot in the arena, you know?
The other thing is probably feeling our way into the arena based on who we're probably playing early, which haven't found out yet because teams haven't been assigned on the schedule yet. But what we do to start the tournament may be different depending on who we're playing and what kind of experience we're expecting to get out the gate. But we'll see. We got time to plan that out.
Yeah, I could see that. Because the resupply, they ranked your team in a 5-pack among a bunch of the other teams. Brisbane BC, US West, and Team Auckland. How did you feel about that ranking?
I could see the arguments behind it, but at least in my personal thoughts, not that I know all of the Brisbane teams, but I've gotten a lot of information from people who do know the players that whatnot, that I think it's more of a, it's kind of like, I guess you would have those 5 teams, but then you'd have kind of like us and Brisbane B kind of like peeking out above them a little bit. Like I could totally see the teams in the other 3 stealing games from them or Brisbane B or us, but I think it's kind of a situation where like us and Brisbane B would probably win 7 out of 10 against the other 3. But I mean, hey, nobody really knows until the games are played, and that's why we play the games. So
It's hard to deny the experience and the track record of Scythe, Baden, and Beans. Just being who they are, they're all very prominent names. It was kind of funny, like, when they talked about the rosters on the Resupply podcast, like, guy next door had what I would call, what I would imagine is just a pretty typical reaction to hearing a bunch of really big names on a team. Like, whoa, that's a good team. And yeah, I myself, like, I heard that, and I'm not so sure. I'm not sure yet. We're doing a rankings show in a few weeks. I'm not so sure yet if it's going to be you guys peeking out above the rest, or if we need to account for changing times. I'm not saying at all that those 3 players have regressed. I am saying though that some of the players who didn't have as much name value over the last 5 years, maybe we aren't giving them the respect they deserve. US West, for example, like, you know, I don't think there's quite as much crazy name value, but there's definitely a lot of synergy coming from that team. And can't deny the creativity of DK's teams over the last few years. I don't know. I don't know which team I would say. I'm going to try to be really objective. I could see your team absolutely being a powerhouse team this tournament. There's so many variables.
I think that's the biggest thing, especially with an arena like Brisbane's, which I've never played there before, and neither has Lenny. So you're going to have 2 people on our team, 3 if you include Tomik, that have never played in the Brisbane arena. I don't remember if Stu has or not. I think he has. But obviously Scythe, Baden, and Beans have. So I think it's like 4 of the 7 have at least some experience in Brisbane. So it's going to be one of those things. Probably how quick do me, Lenny, and Tomik figure out the arena and how to properly play in it?
Let's see, I'm looking here. I've done some sleuthing. Disco Stu, he has played 12 games of Space Marines 5 in Brisbane. And I think they were a long time ago.
That wouldn't necessarily surprise me, considering it's, what was it, 2018 was the last time they even had a tournament there, and I don't remember when the one before that was. So
I think they did one in 2014. Yeah, there's definitely varied experience on this team. But Brew has 118 games of SM5 in Brisbane, and Beans has 112. Scythe 90. So there is a good chunk of experience there. I mean, I think I maybe have about 100 in Syracuse. I've played a couple tournaments there. So that kind of level of experience.
Mm-hmm.
Which, after a couple tournaments, like, you really do begin to pick up on things. I don't know. It's very fun to speculate. But that gives me a good idea of how you see your team. What is your team hoping to accomplish at Nats?
At least second is like the ultimate goal. Uh, we're thinking going in that we should definitely be on the podium in some capacity, but we are gunning for at least second. Obviously, we would want to take down Brisbane and go for first. But we know Brisbane in their home arena how that tends to usually go. So the ultimate goal is taking them down, but we're kind of expecting that we're going to get to the point where we're comfortably in second. That's our goal.
Excellent. Yeah, those are some high hopes for your team. What are you working on to individually prep for this international?
Kind of just making sure that I'm personally not stagnant because there's not really that much tag wise that I could really do to prepare for the tournament, considering I'm not playing in Brisbane to figure out what I'm going to be doing in that arena. And there's only so much you can do and plan for a traveling tournament at your own site. So I'm more just making sure that I'm still out and about doing a bunch of stuff to keep myself in like playing shape so that I'm not gassing out at the tournament. Like I play kickball 3 to 4 nights a week right now. I play football on Sundays right now. So I'm doing a bunch of stuff just to keep myself moving and ready to go for the tournament. So
Right, all these good physical contact sports for playing laser tag.
hell yeah. And I don't want to, I'm going to knock on wood real quick, but I am someone who very, very, very infrequently gets hurt. So hopefully I can afford it. Even going all the way through high school, playing basically every sport under the sun, I've never had an injury in sports that kept me out for more than like maybe a day. So
Get away from my resupply. Ugh. Toss them over
laser
the
tag
second
would
floor.
totally be the first thing that absolutely cripples me somehow. That would be the way that I get hurt is playing laser tag. My luck.
Dude, there are people who get injured playing laser tag. Happens every year.
I'm sure the concussion that Thunder got was would tell you a lot about that.
Sure, safer than football, I'm sure, but yeah. Um. Well, anyway, what are you most excited for in the tournament?
Just being able to play in another arena that I've never played in before. Like if it comes specifically to the tournament, it's kind of just that experience, being able to learn a whole new environment and whatnot, and possibly a completely different play style and whatnot. Because there's a lot of things I'm definitely looking forward to on the sheer fact that I'm going on vacation for 3.5 weeks.
Mhm.
But for the tournament itself, it's kind of just the experience of playing somewhere that I haven't played before and getting the solve the puzzle of a different arena, basically.
Absolutely. Besides Rusty's team, what team do you think will be the most difficult to defeat?
I think it's going to be Brisbane B, just because apparently they're young, and young tends to mean fast and athletic, and fast teams can definitely be good, especially in arenas where you can move and arenas that have ramps if you're in a lot of good shape. Plus, home arena, so you always have that aspect of even Brisbane teams in the past that aren't the A team still tend to perform very well as B teams or C teams, just off the fact that not only is it their own arena, but they're practicing all the time with those A team players and getting that kind of experience in their belt to get better and improve. So it wouldn't shock me if you told me at the end of the tournament that the top 3 teams ended up being Brisbane A, Brisbane B, Brisbane C. It wouldn't necessarily shock me too much, just because it's Brisbane and it's their home site.
I hear you. To be clear, Rusty was pretty clear. He was trying not to make it an ABC, but people, of course, are going to do that. And whatever team Rusty and Taipan are on, yeah, people are going to consider that the A team. But it seems like the other 2 teams are more of personality fits. Like, yeah, the Team Orange at the moment, these are working titles. Yeah, young, athletic, but less experienced. They started on average around 2009, so these players have been around for a while. I started my membership in 2012. Actually, I started mine in 2010, but I had 3 cards before settled on one. Anyway, no one cares. 2012. But Brisbane Team Banana, it's an oldies team. The average year that people started on that team, 1999. And that's including Lucy Dune, who started in 2018. Like, a lot of these players are coming back. They've been practicing for the last 6 months to a year. And that's really cool. The variables on this they're really hard to determine who's going to be the best teams. But you're right, it could absolutely be the 3 Brisbane teams on top. But I could also see the talent in the US and Auckland surprising them and knocking those teams down a peg.
Honestly, that's what I'm hoping to see. I don't want to see Brisbane all the way in the top 3. I want to see some of the U.S. teams come over there and give them a nice little punch in the mouth in the standings. But hey, that's good. That's the biggest hurdle you got to climb, is beating teams in their own arena.
Yeah, absolutely. I do think because of that, just home field advantage does tend to diminish a little bit over the course of the week. I could definitely see that younger Team Orange winning a lot of games early in the week, but speed may, if that's their thing, if it's just speed may not carry them through the whole week. People will adapt to them. But I doubt it's going to be just speed. I think, especially since they got to practice against Rusty's team, I think they're going to come pretty prepared, all 3 teams.
I think that's also one of the things that Beans was talking about in one of our chats, was like, he would not be surprised to see us drop the match to the younger team from Brisbane the first time we play them, just because we're probably still going to be figuring out the arena for the new players on the team and what we're going to do. But once we've had things figured out and we figured out the other teams, he would expect the second match and or finals to go a little bit differently.
Yeah, I could absolutely see that. How often does your team get to meet?
At least Baden and Stu has come out to Syracuse to play. I think when they came out 2 weeks ago, when the St. George guys came over, was like the 4th or the 5th time they've come out just this year. So Baden and Stu have been over here getting plenty of games in with us. But like I mentioned earlier, we haven't had a chance to get Scythe over just because of work schedules yet. So kind of hoping that if we are able to play next week, like we were potentially talking about, that he'd be able to make it then. And he was talking like he might be able to. So kind of like we're hoping for, we at least get that 1 week right before the tournament where we get the whole team together.
That would be amazing. How often do you meet virtually?
Outside of,
ever?
not really, not like on calls or stuff like this, but we have a group chat that we're in that we talk about stuff related to the tournament and or planning practices and whatnot a ton. So we have that, like, we're talking to each other a lot. We just don't have like voice calls or anything like that often or whatever.
Absolutely. Well, that's awesome. I don't think I really have any other questions about Nats. Is there anything else about Nats that you feel is important that to talk about for your team?
Not really, because I think most of the experience is just going to be, like I mentioned, us kind of figuring things out as we go. So,
Awesome.
any questions about the tournament that I would think of, or something that I'd probably think of once I get there. So,
Okay. Yeah, you're feeling it out. Well, I appreciate you coming out of the in the present mindset to kind of look ahead a little bit and share with us some of what your team's going through right now.
yep, no problem.
Anything I can plug for you?
Nothing specifically for me, but just we talked about it earlier, trying to get more Force players to play Armageddon. So that's something. That's something I could have, especially since we're looking at hopefully having it in Syracuse next year, along with Nats. That's the plan. Nothing concrete yet before Beans gets mad at me or whatever, but that's the ultimate goal, and I'm hoping that's the opportunity I can have to maybe get forced to have the biggest showing at the tournament for once.
That would be sick. Okay, you heard it here first. It's not official, but potentially you could do 2 tournaments back to back, playing Armageddon and Laserforce Internationals. That being said, we're going to conclude here. Please support our show and the fight against bullying by giving to our Patreon. If you want to be part of our Laserforce community, join the Laserforce Tournament Discord and look to attend a tournament event. If you want to be a guest on this podcast, find one of our episodes under the podcast forum and leave a comment or message me directly. That's game over, everybody. We'll see you in the next episode. Coming on, Cody.
No problem.
Thank you for listening to ForceProSports. Subscribe to the channel and get cool perks by supporting our Patreon. Play Laserforce and become part of this era's next great sport.